A father of two children, ages 7 and 4, if I remember, wrote to me and said this, quote, "We were just about to go to the store because the kids wanted to use their allowances to buy candy. Just outside the house, I asked Lisa, 7, if she had her money with her. She didn't, so she went inside and tried to find it." End quote. It was sweet of you, Dad, to ask her if she had her money, as opposed to getting the usual happens. "Oh, I left it at home." You might tell her in the future, though, that you won't ask if she has her money. You'll just go to the store, and if she doesn't have the money, she'll have to deal with the disappointment. It makes her responsible for her own choices, which is reasonable for this at age 7. Dad continues, "After waiting for a minute, I went inside to learn that she couldn't find her money. I didn't know what to say." So what do? You love her and teach her. Always. It's always love and teach, over and over. First, you tell her that we all misplace stuff like that. All of us. It's nothing to feel bad about. Give her some examples of how you've done it. With those 2 sentences, we all do stuff like this and don't feel bad about it. You're indicating that when she makes a mistake, she's not less acceptable, which is how otherwise they would feel. You're understanding her and accepting her at the same time. Then do a little teaching. You could say, in the future, you might label some things in your mind, at least, as extra important. Then, like money, then never, ever put those things down except in 1 or 2 places. Then those objects never get lost. I do that, you could say to her, and it saves me lots of frustration and time. So Dad continues, "I told her that her brother and I would wait outside for 3 more minutes, and then she would have to decide." This is beautiful. Dad's teaching choice. He says, she would have to decide whether she still wants to go with us without money or stay home. This is brilliant parenting. Dad says she didn't like either option and started crying. Back to me for a sec. We try to spare our children any pain. We actually believe that our primary job is to spare our children pain, and that's not our job. And in the process of sparing pain, we avoid them having to make difficult decisions. But when we do that, how do we expect them to deal with so many of life's decisions that will be difficult and painful? So we spare them from difficult choices as kids. Then when they become adults and they have to make them without us sitting our chin on their shoulder, they don't know what to do. So, talking to Dad, you didn't save her from the difficult decision. Nice going. Dad says, "I sat on the chair. I held her on my lap. She was still crying. So I said, 'Do you want to talk with me, or would you like to go to your room and cry by yourself?' Choices again. Lovely father." Dad says she stopped and said she wanted to talk to me. Wow. Other parents will never know how easily children can stop crying until the parents learn how to make that happen, to give them a choice. Do you want to speak to me with words, or would you like to go be by yourself and just cry? Children want to be connected to you. And Dad just did this beautifully. Dad said to her, "I know that it's sad. You were really excited to buy some candy." See the understanding on the part of Dad? And Dad says she nodded her head, and I said, "You still have a choice. The choices are always there. You can stay here, or you can go with us with no money." This is lovely parenting. Now, Lisa, the child, feels trapped, kind of in a good way. She's only trapped to make a choice. And there should always be a choice instead of us rescuing them. If she stays home, she misses the trip with you. I'm talking to Dad now. If she goes with you without any money, she won't be able to buy the candy. And then she'll feel left out. It would be so tempting for you to just save her, to give her the money and have her pay you back later when she finds hers. Very tempting to do. But how do kids learn the consequences of their choices unless we allow them to experience the consequences of their choices? The hard ones. It's the hard ones that they learn the most from. So what would motivate her to keep important things in one place if you save her from the price of not being organized? Well, she'll never be organized. And these kids grow up to be the adults who go, I can't find anything, and they hold up every trip to anywhere, and they're late to everything. People don't like being with them because no parent had the courage just to say, well, here are your choices, and the consequences of your choices will be yours. How will a child not taught consequences learn to deal with bigger disappointments in life if she doesn't learn how to live with this small one? Dad says, Lisa decided to stay home. Her brother, Leo, and I had a great time going to the store and coming back. Bless you for teaching her instead of saving her, especially in the face of tears, which moves so many parents. Dad says, as we were leaving the store, I asked Leo if he wanted to buy Lisa, the one at home, a lollipop. He was enthusiastic and said, yeah. I made sure that he understood that he would be buying her one with his money, but he was still eager to do it. So he picked one for her and paid for it himself. He was excited about giving it to her. And as soon as we walked in the door, he said, Mom, I got a lollipop for Lisa. Priceless experience. Kids want to be loving. They do. They have an innate desire to be loving because it connects them to people, connects them to the universe, frankly. All they lack is a parent who loves them enough that they feel full themselves and they can make free choices to give to others. Notice Dad didn't order him to get his sister a lollipop. He said, would you like to? And he didn't push him. It was a suggestion. Dad says to me, I loved that Lisa had a chance to learn something valuable through the natural consequences of her actions. I didn't bug her about it later or give her a lecture or bring it up in any way. And that's brilliant of you. Consequences are great teachers. Without words, we need to let consequences teach and not nag our kids after the consequences happen. Dad says, was it okay to ask Leo if he wanted to buy Lisa a candy? Would it have been better not to ask? That's a toss-up. Could be yes, could be no. Pros and cons either way. For example, if you ask Leo if he wants to buy candy for Lisa, you give him an opportunity to do something loving, which he might want to do but would not have thought of. That's a good thing. But, on the other side, he might feel pressured to get the gift to please you and his sister. His enthusiastic response to your question is your clue that he didn't feel pressured. He didn't hesitate and go, well, that would have meant he felt pressured. And if he had felt pressured, you could easily have said, son, you don't have to do this. It's just an idea. Then if he decides, no, I don't want to buy her a gift. Beautiful. He's still making his own choice, and you don't give him a lecture about being loving. So, yes, it was a risk to ask him if he wanted to, but it turned out well. If you don't ask Leo if he wants to do something for Lisa, she gets, see, there are pros and cons to everything. She gets more of the consequence of misplacing her money. Good thing. And 2, Leo doesn't feel any pressure to do the right thing. Another good thing. So it's a tough call. There's pros and cons to everything. My real point here is parenting is incredibly flexible. Make a choice and then just learn from it. Don't always be obsessed with making the right choice, because often there isn't a single answer. You handled it brilliantly. Just be observant and be aware of the potential benefits and risks of suggesting that a child do something good for someone. It can quickly turn into duty and obligation, and that's not what you want ruling your kid's life. You're already doing more beautifully as a parent than you ever imagined doing. The more situations like this you encounter, the more confident you become that you're loving and teaching in a way that will lead to happiness in your kids. Bless your heart. For tons of examples like this one of loving and teaching our children in potentially confusing situations, go to realloveparents.com.